Yeah, in Nahualism, there are two main paths that you can take, the path of dreaming and the path of stalking. So these two paths are part of the hero's journey, which is called. So you become a warrior stalker or a warrior dreamer. The aim is, okay, many things, to know the self, to, become better, etc. But according to the tradition is to move your assemblage point to the left. So in more modern terms would be to expand your awareness. Now, uh, in dreaming, you have certain steps or doors, are called doors, the seven doors of dreaming. If in Castaneda's books he talks up to this fourth door, and he doesn't explain more, but I will talk about the seven doors. Now, in stalking, there are some steps too. So this doesn't mean these steps are have to be like this and like that, but it's more or less the you know more or less the steps that everybody will follow in order to become a warrior stalker in the Nahual tradition. Now, all these things, all these teachings are passed on orally, from teacher to students, etc. Some authors have, written some books or something about these things, but more or less the steps are: the first step is when the warriors break his own routines, his own habits. When you have routines, you are predictable. When you are predictable, you are the prey. But the warrior is the hunter. Is the hunter of his own weaknesses. So the first step in the warrior path, in the Toltec warrior path, is to become unpredictable. The second step is when the warrior takes death as an advisor. For the warrior, death walks one arm distance in his back, and it can touch him or her anytime. So it keep you moving forward. The common man lives life as if he will never die. And doing that, you first of all, you don't give your best. Second, you miss this beauty in life, because what makes life beautiful is death. Understand? So the warrior understands this and takes death as a companion in the journey, as an advisor, as a friend. Of course, it doesn't become obsessed with the idea of death, but treat it with indifference, but it has the awareness of his or her impending death. This gives you an edge. This gives you an advantage. It's true that we are, eternal, but we are mortals at this point, at this particular temporary experience of human beings. We are mortals, and not being aware of your own death, well, it take you, away from the true self, from being aware of your true self. The third step is when the warrior search for perfection of being, and when he walks the path of the warrior with the warrior frame of mind, it will look perfection of being in every act. This, what it does is you just don't feel offended or hurt anymore for other people's actions because you see that everybody's looking for perfection of being one way or another, even if they are aware or they are not aware of this fact. So everybody's trying to do the best they can, you know. So when you see that, you cannot judge, you cannot feel hurt for other people's act because since they are doing the best they can, okay, they haven't reached the level of awareness you have, but you know, you are not offended anymore, and this gives you a tremendous amount of freedom and extra energy because most of our energy is wasted or is used, you know, defending ourselves, protecting ourselves from other people's acts, not being hurt, taking revenge, you know, thinking about this or that. So when you search for perfection of being, or in the third step of the journey, you gain a lot of power and a lot of freedom. The fourth step in the warrior path is when the warrior assumes responsibility for his own decisions, his own acts, his words, his doing, and his thinking. You know, first he has to know why he do things, you know, and then he must do it without any doubts, without any regrets, ready to die for his own decisions. This gives you also power, this forge an iron will. The fifth step is when the warrior put himself or herself in harmony or balance with the world. You know, how to do that is becoming unapproachable. Unapproachable by the world itself, by the collective, by the collective consciousness, by the belief systems, by the religious systems, by the political systems, you know, all this organized world divisions and things where the warrior he put himself in balance with these things being unapproachable by the things themselves. So in order to do that, the warrior need to follow a strategy and need to get some skills. You know, he needs to know when is the right time to act, when is not the time to act. So in doing that, the warrior, he or she doesn't leave anything to chance. Everything is part of a strategy. And this grows awareness, and this gives you a strong willpower. The sixth step in the warrior's path is when the warrior takes every battle as if it is the last battle on earth. Because if you know that it is your last fight, your last battle, you will do whatever it takes to survive. You will give your best. You will not leave anything to chance. And more with the idea of his or her own impending death, the warrior makes himself completely aware of not having time. So each act is the last battle. The seventh step is when the warrior forces him or herself to believe. And now these are not belief systems, it's another thing, you know. So this means that before entering into the battle or in front of situations the warrior cannot verify, cannot be sure, he carry on his strategy. He must believe, he must, because, you know, when you believe, you put awareness, energy, focus, intention to it. The eighth step is when the warrior gets rid of debts, of energetic burdens. So the warrior, before going into the unknown, because the warrior path is the path to the unknown, he shows gratitude, generosity, love for, all of those that have helped him or her, um, debts and promises and that we do to other people, to ourselves. This consumes energy and keep us energetically linked or tied. It becomes a burden. So the warrior paid all his debts before going into the unknown, but it, it do that, he or she, do that from a deep silence, from a place of stillness, of awareness. It's not that you just go around saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going into the unknown. It's a real thing. And the last step in the warrior path is when the warrior loves the earth. Now this is not like in we love Pachamama. No, it's another thing. It's an awareness thing. You need to experience it. Is acknowledging that the earth is our mother, our protector. It keeps us safe. It gives us everything we need. So it's not that this Pachamama will love you, but it becomes this feeling becomes the innermost predilection of the warrior. Now, in different authors have written these steps in different ways, and traditionally also they are taught in different ways, but more or less these are the 9 steps in the Toltec path of the hero, of the warrior stalker. Now, some people think that this is the end of the path, and actually is the beginning, because the idea is to take the next part of the journey, which is called the man of knowledge, or the woman of knowledge, if you want to call it. Man is man and woman. So, is when the warrior becomes a sorcerer. Now, the word sorcerer or sorcery is kind of associated with witchcraft and things like that, but it has nothing to do. In the Toltec tradition, in the Nahualistic tradition, the word sorcerer is used exactly with the way it means. Sorcerer is the one that channels the source. So in the path of the man of knowledge, we channel source energy through our system, and we anchor this into this reality, into Mother Earth and the collective consciousness, etc. Therefore, helping to raise the vibrations, helping in the awakening, in the ascension, whatever you want to call it. I have a phone call.